guys, we're out here in Santan Valley area.
Yeah, Mesa, I think. Right.
Mesa.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Mesa, Arizona. Stopping for some lunch. We're gonna grab some In-N-Out.
In-N-Out burger.
Go for the rest of the drive home.
Should be a fun drive. Got a lot of canyons and so forth. Way back.
Yeah, we're planning on taking the scenic route to get some of that action. So we got the car here. It's got definitely getting hit by some bugs. I think this little nick is new from the drive yesterday, but overall it's looking pretty good. We'll probably put a clear wrap, like a protection film on it for the rest of the drive home. We didn't really want to put it on yet, but at a minimum we'll cover the front of the hood, and probably as much as we can on the bumper, around the headlights and whatnot, just to give it a little bit more protection for the we have about 6.5 hours I think left, so that's the plan. But first we're gonna grab some lunch before we head out, and then we'll continue on our journey. All right. Being from a state that doesn't have In-N-Out, it's kind of one of the necessities once you're in Arizona or Nevada or California is to hit up In-N-Out. So gonna grab some food and then we'll head out. It's not a problem going over dust.
No, it's just gonna suck
Hold
it. Nope.
Oh.
It was not enough.
Damn.
That's the majority of it.
I don't know. Would I rather that on the hood? Or is that the... Probably...
That's the most aggressive spot, as you saw with all the bug.
Yeah. Well, looks like that's all we got. Better than nothing.
The only other option is painter's tape. White painter's tape. See what's around here.
Well, we didn't have enough of that, so. How thick is that? Isn't that 2 rolls?
Yeah, it is.
2. We got... That's a 2 roll. Here. Masking tape? Or do we want painter's tape?
The orange tape.
Oh, you won't even know. 4 2-pack. This is 1.5 inch, looks like. Damn. This one's 1.88 inches. Frog tape. This one's thicker. That's 2. That's 2. This one might be the one.
Yeah.
What? Where are there bugs all over? Get right here. Might not stick.
They put something on it to anti water ceramic.
Oh. Sweet.
See how well it does. I'm not super happy about the sides here. Those may start to peel back.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
See how it goes.
Yeah. We'll assess later. All right. Better than nothing.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. All my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spend all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
All right, guys, we're in Miami right now. Is that New Mexico or Arizona?
It's Arizona.
Miami, Arizona. Got a little bit more gas. The wrap job we did is holding up good enough. It'll probably last for the rest of the trip. We're not going too far, luckily, so we're gonna hit some canyons, so hopefully those aren't too bad. Hopefully there's not a lot of traffic, so we can kind of have some fun. But
Could be good. A lot of switchbacks.
just filled up. Not sure how much I've spent on gas so far. Not too much, honestly, but yeah, we're moving along. We're moving along. We're supposed to
Slow and very steady.
slow and very steady, indeed. Yep. Hopefully not too slow going forward.
All right, guys, we're on the straight road now, back home. Went through the Apache Canyon, basically like a miniature Grand Canyon. Pretty cool.
Pretty sweet.
What do you think of that, Joe?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to take this car through the curves and open it up a little bit. I was a little more reserved than you were, but it was fun. It was fun to drive it, and then it was fun being in the passenger seat too to
Experience what it's like.
experience it. Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. I overall I'm super excited about this car. It's definitely performance wise a step up from where I'm coming from, and it's a platform that I'm excited to learn and learn the ins and outs of the engine and the car and everything. So I'm excited.
So you're coming from an Audi S5, which we've shown a few times on the channel here with different upgrades.
Right.
It's a 2015 S5. That's a V6 with a twin screw supercharger, and then we have a piggyback tuner on that one, or
No, it's a full
different
tune. Full tune. Yeah, it's a 034 Motorsports Stage 1 tune.
And so you think that's about 420,
It should be about 430.
430
Right under 430
crank horsepower?
crank horsepower. I think torque, 369, I think.
And that's
foot-pounds.
obviously a manual, but it's an all-wheel drive car.
Yeah. All-wheel drive, manual, charged V6. I love that car, honestly. I bought it at 40,000 miles, and I put about 90,000 more on top of that. So at this point, it's I've definitely driven the hell out of that car and used it a lot. So definitely didn't baby it, but it was my daily driver for the past 5 years, and was just excited to start looking at the next car, and here we are.
That's a fun car. That S5 is a fun car. So from driving that one to your impression over the last day and a half, what do you think between the two? Certainly faster.
Oh yeah, I mean this thing's definitely way faster for sure. I think I'd like to do a side by side, like from a dig and rolling races, and see how they compare. My impressions would be like off the line, the S5 is gonna probably pull on this for a while, and then this thing would just this thing really needs to be high in the rev for it to really get that power. So your power kicks on, I don't know, what would you say, like 4,500 to 5,000 RPM, and then it's just a different animal. So definitely a different style of driving between the two. The S5 is we've done some mods to it, so at this point it's not the most comfortable. It's a little bit on the stiffer side. We have coilovers on it and upgraded suspension, so it handles really well. It's on rails, but yeah, definitely different. I'm surprised this thing's actually super comfortable. The roads right now are pretty trash right where we're at the moment. It could be worse. They could be worse, but
And it just got better.
And it just got better. Yeah, nice and smooth now. So, but this thing handles well, and when you're in comfort mode, with the Magna Ride, it feels comfortable. All around, I would say between the two, similar size vehicles, physically. I'm excited to put them side by side and actually look at that. But interior wise, it feels very similar to the S5. And that was like one of the main pros to it. I was looking at a couple other cars, and this thing was just a little bit more comfortable. I plan on, partially dailying this. I'll probably daily it for the next couple of months, and then I'll see what I'm going to do for a proper daily.
What other cars did you think about getting?
Besides this one?
Yeah.
Good question. So coming from the all-wheel drive Audi, I really love Audis. The German vehicles, just the quality is fantastic. Big fan of German vehicles. I don't think I would go BMW. Funny that I'm saying that, but I don't think I would go BMW, so I wasn't really looking into any of those. You know, the M2s are pretty sweet. Haven't driven one. I've driven a, you know, previous gen M, the 440i. Yeah, the M440i. Um, and wasn't really, I test drove that when I was looking at the Audi, and you know, it was nice, but it really wasn't really my cup of tea. I don't really like turbo lag, and that definitely had a lot of it. And so I wasn't really too impressed with that. But I'm sure that some other BMWs would be sweet, like an M4. Even the new M2s are pretty crazy, so super capable. I was looking primarily at a new manual transmission Supra. So I put my money down at the Toyota dealership in town, and I've been on the list for quite a while now. Um, Probably, you know, I guess not too long, but probably on the order of like 3.5 months I've been on the order, and there's still not an allotment for me. So basically, the way it goes is it's just you're on a list. You don't get a spec it out how you want. They just say, okay, you're on the list. Here's your order on the list, and we'll tell you if one shows up and if you're next in line. So I think I was 8 on the list. 3 of them were for automatics. 4 of them were for manuals, and then the way it worked was you put like your preference for colors. So you pick your top 3 colors, which was kind of weird because there's only 4 color options. So I don't know why they even asked, but yeah, long story short, I was on the list and was waiting and was planning to go that route. Um, Now, while I was doing that, I was, you know, still looking at other vehicles. I was looking at the C7 Corvettes. Definitely, I'd say I'm more of a Corvette guy. I've never owned one, but I've always wanted one. Um, I like. I was looking at, you know, I've thought C5s. I like C5s, C6s, C7s. I've driven all 3 of them. Actually, well, yeah, I have driven all 3 of them. I haven't driven a C5 in probably like 10 years, but um, so I was looking at those types of options because I was really wanting, if I wasn't going the Supra, I was wanting rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, V8. And there's really just not a lot of options, right? So, you know, Corvette, Camaro, Mustang, um, BMW, and
Supra. Then.
and the Supra, but the Supra wouldn't be V8.
Right.
Now, the thing with the Supra, we were like, well, let's get that. We could tune it and make good power. A lot of people are doing that, have done that, and making really good power. That engine sounds fantastic, you know, with an exhaust, and so that's kind of what I was leaning towards. But you know, the later Supras, Mark V Supras, Toyota locked down, or I guess BMW locked down those ECUs. So I guess from what I was seeing, you got to ship it overseas to even unlock the ECU to tune it. And that was just, I think it's some shop in Finland that you have to ship it to. I don't know if that's what people are actually doing, or if there's other options or what. But you know, I was gonna look into that if, you know, I got the car. Now, while I was waiting for that, I went and sat in one. Just random dude pulled up at Five Guys, and I say, hey, I'm looking at buying one of these. Do you think I could sit in it? Because I had sat in one back in like 2019 when they first came out at the dealership, and you know, at the time I was like, this is too small. Like, this is just gonna not be comfortable as a daily. It's just not practical at all. And obviously, you know, you're buying a sports car. Practicality is like, you know, how important is it? But
You got to compromise, right?
yeah, you got to compromise. And anyways, while I was doing that, obviously Jarrett and some other guys at the shop were super into Mustangs, and so been around it. We're doing the Coyote swap on the Bronco, and you know, I'm super deep into the electronics on the Coyote and on the Bronco harness, so I've at least a little bit more familiar on the electronic side on how all that works. So definitely has me a little bit more interested in the platform. And you know, my cousin Jaden, he's a super big Mustang guy, and you know, he's like, well, let's just go test drive one. Let's go look at one. Everything you want, S550 all day. That's where it's at. So he finally convinced me to go drive one. We drove down to the dealership. There was a 2019 GT, and so we took it for a drive, and I was kind of sold at that point. You know, just the engine note was fantastic. Just that Gen 3 Coyote, just fantastic. So I really enjoyed it. It just kind of blew my mind a little bit. I just remember we were driving down, we were getting on the freeway, and I'm going like 80 miles per hour. I remember it was 80 or 90, but Jaden's in the back seat, and he's telling me, he's like, hey, Joe, notice that you're in third gear right now. And I was just like, that just kind of blew my mind because I wasn't paying attention to shifting. I was just shifting when I needed to shift. And I was at like 4,000 RPM at 80 some miles per hour on the freeway in third gear. And that just kind of blew my mind. So definitely a ton of power, and, you know, that Coyote super torquey low end. And, you know, and then talking to you, you told me to, you know, said, hey, hear me out. GT350.
Yep.
So,
And so for those that aren't aware, the GT350 versus the normal GT, the big difference is the use of the 5.2 liter Voodoo, which is a flat plane crank model of the Coyote platform, and so they increased the displacement of it. I think it's at 4 to be able to get that extra volume. And then they modified the engine, the block, and a few things to make it a flat plane crank. One of the first from Ford to really do that in this configuration, similar to the European style of V8s. And those motors, originally going back, I think, to 2016 or so, make about 525 horsepower, 430 foot-pounds of torque. All NA, it's a higher compression than the normal 5 liter. I think on the newest Gen 3s or 4s, they've gotten up to about 12 to 1 compression ratio. These, I think, are about 12.5 to 1. So definitely meant to be a naturally aspirated track car, more so than you know, a moddable configuration like the Gen 3 Coyote that we're using in the Bronco, where it responds super well to boost because it's kind of an intermediate compression ratio setup. Now the GT350's got a bunch of other capabilities really geared towards the track, a lot more cooling, a little bit lighter, but the big thing is the stiffness of the chassis and the suspension system. What have you thought about the ride quality compared to some of the other cars you've had and driven, or your test rides in the GT, the base models?
it's honestly really impressive. You know, as we were hitting those switchbacks in the canyon, you know, this thing was just hugging the road, and handles fantastic when you're, you know, even at high speed. We're you know, we're pretty planted, and so overall, I would say it feels great on the road. It's a noticeable difference between the different drive modes. So, you know, if you're in comfort mode, it's pretty soft and comfortable. Like I said, right now the roads right now are switching between really nice pavement to really not nice pavement. As I'm saying that, trying to dodge some potholes, and it's impressive for a car that's, like, you know, designed for the track. Like, you can daily this thing, and it's comfortable. Right at this point, we've gone, what, 7 hours in this thing probably.
Easily,
Between yesterday we drove probably
About
4
hours.
4 hours, and today we're probably at least 3 hours in, probably 4 hours. So at this point, maybe 8 hours and 600 miles, maybe. I'd have to look, but yeah, super comfortable, super capable, and yeah, really enjoyable. I'm definitely impressed with that aspect of it.
So what are some of the things that you plan to do with it, or some of the things that you're not a fan of as you've driven it now for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, good question. Performance wise, at this moment, I don't think I really have any plans to do anything. That was kind of one of the appeals of the GT350 over the GT for me. Um, was stock. It's just great. Just from from Ford, it comes ready to go. And that was one of the aspects that I really liked. Was one, obviously the GT350 is quite a bit pricier than a GT. I could have found a an earlier gen, uh, either Gen 2 or Gen 3 GT, and made good power and had a lot of fun. But right away there were tons of things that I would want to do to it, and I already know that. I'd probably end up adding a Whipple to it because it just makes sense. And this thing, I think the although it doesn't have a lot of low end torque, I think the torque lives somewhere else, and you just got to know how to drive the car. So I think I'm planning on just getting familiar with it, and spending some time just mastering what it is stock, and going from there. So I'll probably stick to primarily small mods and mostly aesthetic things. There's certain fit and finish issues with the car that are kind of annoying, but they're easy to look past once you're driving it. And yeah, you're just super fun behind the wheel. There's this rattle right now on the RPM gauge that's been driving me crazy since we left Lake Havasu, and so I just need to figure out how to kill that rattle.
Probably take it off and put some foam in there.
Yeah, because once I grab it stops instantly, so it should be pretty easy to do. The Yeah, we'll go over all the issues in the car down at the shop. I think we'll go around the car and show the issues with the used vehicle. It's a 2019, 27,000 miles, and it has some wear and tear. But overall, I think it was in a really good shape.
I agree.
So I think, mostly aesthetic things. It's got the black stripes. Debating on either removing those or going to a matte black stripe. I'm not sure how great that will look on the orange, but I might just do a stripe delete. Maybe wrap the hood black. Most GT350s I've seen while I was shopping come factory with the black roof. This one does not. I don't know yet my preference. So we'll kind of see. Might just wrap it and see how I like that.
Right.
At least protect the paint up there for a while and whatnot. Be nice to do a full PPF over the front of the car.
Right.
At a minimum. It would have been nice if we were able to do that before driving back 700 miles or whatever distance we're going.
You got some film there at least.
Yeah, so we wrapped it at least for the second leg of the trip. So I don't know. Besides that, I mean, I don't know. We were talking about adding carbon to a couple different things. Originally, I'd wanted to do the digital dash that you get in the Mach 1. But at this point, I think I'll live with the gauges. They're pretty nice. I do like them. Definitely more analog and traditional for a Mustang. And but I did drive a Mach 1 while I was in my GT350 search to compare. It was a little bit cheaper for slightly newer and already had the digital dash. The digital dash will run you I think around $3,000. So overall, it would have been a lot cheaper to go with the Mach 1. But handling wise, the same suspension components and whatnot between the two. But that's one thing that I really like about the GT350 and the Mach 1 is that it sits right from factory. A lot of cars that you look at is okay, yeah, I'm gonna add coilovers because it just sits the right height. It just looks not good. This thing just looks great, I think, automatically. So
I agree.
I don't think, and plus you don't really want to lose the Magna ride.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it. So it just overall, yeah, I'm paid more for the vehicle, but I'm gonna save a lot on not having to do all those performance mods. And the main thing was like we have so many projects at the shop that I didn't really want to get another one that, you know, just we have other things, other priorities at the moment. So I wanted something that was just kind of out the box, ready to go. So in this case, bought, not built. Okay,
Yep.
so and I'm okay with that because it you know, my time's already really limited, and we got to get that Bronco finished, and I got my 240Z that I want to finish, and still have a ton to do on that. We're still pretty much pretty early on that project, and you know, lots of other stuff going on at the shop. So
What about wheels, tires on this?
wheels and tires, stock, the GT350, at least I think at least in like 2019 and 2020 come with the Cup 2s, I believe, and this definitely didn't have those. This has Michelin up in the front and Snittos in the back. But you know, I don't know as far as tires what my plan is, but wheels, that's another aspect of the GT350 that I kind of like the stock wheels.
Yep.
It would, you know, I have seen some that people go with like a deep dish style wheel, not super deep, but that does look really good. But for now, no plans for wheels.
Gotcha. So, guys, we got a little bit of insight on what it's like driving the GT350 all the way back from Havasu, Arizona. We're about halfway through the trip back now, and we're going to keep testing it, playing around with it a little bit on the way back. We've got another probably 3 hours or so to drive.
Yeah.
And we'll check in with you guys, give you guys an update, see if anything changes. But I think the general conception is that this is a pretty nice ride. Definitely a higher end car and performs really well no matter what it's doing. So
Absolutely.
check in a little bit. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.